Ever feel like you're stuck just playing phone tag all day instead of actually, working?
Oh, tell me about it.
I've definitely been there. And it's the worst, right? Missing those important calls because you're totally swamped.
The worst.
But okay, now imagine this. You're a whole business, and your business is missing more than half its calls.
Ouch.
That's exactly what happened to Bonnie&Car, this used car platform over in France.
Yeah, I read about that. Their numbers were, well, they were kind of alarming. Missing 55% of calls. That's a huge amount of potential business just slipping through their fingers.
It's crazy. They knew they had to totally revamp things, but realistically, they couldn't just hire a whole bunch of new people.
Right, right.
So that's what we're diving into today. How Bonnie&Car used AI to solve this problem.
And this isn't just about them. It's something we're seeing more and more businesses turning to AI to keep up with everything and everyone.
And this case study is a perfect example of how powerful even one single AI solution can be when it's laser focused on a problem.
Totally.
So they worked with this company called CallShift.ai, and what caught my eye was their tagline: answer every call without extra staff.
Okay, I mean, that sounds like a dream, right? But they're actually using AI in a really smart way. They have these things called, get this, AI-powered virtual agents, which are basically like AI assistants that can actually understand callers and respond just like a person would.
And here's the really cool part. CallShift.ai works seamlessly with whatever calendar system a company's already using. Like Bonnie&Car, they use Google Calendar, so the virtual agents can actually schedule meetings and appointments right there in their calendar.
It's amazing for efficiency. Think about it. No more going back and forth with emails or trying to catch someone during business hours.
Totally.
CallShift.ai basically takes this task that can suck up so much time and completely automates it.
And it's what customers want these days, too. Studies have shown almost half of customers actually prefer to schedule appointments over the phone.
Yeah. So companies are not only making things easier on themselves, but also creating a better experience for their customers. Win-win.
For sure. And CallShift.ai does all of this in 3 simple steps. First, when all the human agents are busy, CallShift.ai's virtual agent steps in to answer every single call.
Love it.
Okay, but hold on. How does that even work? Are we talking those old school basic chatbots?
No. We're talking next level stuff here. CallShift.ai uses what's called natural language processing, NLP for short, which means those virtual agents are understanding and interpreting what people are saying with, scary accuracy.
So it's not just pre-programmed responses.
Yeah.
They're actually understanding the conversation as it happens.
Exactly. They're trained on tons and tons of data, so they learn to recognize patterns, figure out what people really mean, and then respond in a natural conversational way. Forget those robotic AI voices from, the Stone Age.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense, especially for the next step in the process. So the virtual agent answers the call, but it can also ask questions to figure out what the caller needs and if they'd be a good fit for what Bonnie&Car offers.
Which is key, right?
Absolutely.
CallShift.ai is automating that initial screening part, which means the human agents are free to handle the more complicated stuff the AI can't do yet.
Smart. And then comes step 3, where the calendar integration comes back in. If the virtual agent decides that the caller is a good lead, it can connect to the company's calendar, find a time that works, and schedules that appointment right then and there.
Boom. Just like that. Something that used to take multiple calls or emails back and forth is done in minutes, all while those human agents are focusing on other important things.
It almost sounds too good to be true. But then you look at the results.
Yeah, the results are pretty wild.
So spill the tea. What happened when Bonnie&Car brought in CallShift.ai?
Remember how they were missing over half their calls before?
Yeah, it was 55%, right? Crazy.
Well, after CallShift.ai, their missed call rate went to 0. Yep, 0. They went from missing more than half to capturing every single lead. Every single one.
Okay, but besides just, not missing calls anymore, how did that actually affect their business?
Well, for one, they were able to extend their hours by, get this, 50%. Seriously? And they didn't even have to hire more people to do it. They went from a 9 to 5 to being available almost 24/7.
That's a game changer. It's like they've totally blown past just meeting expectations. They're exceeding them by a mile. Talk about a competitive advantage.
Exactly. And think about it. A lot of online bookings happen outside of regular business hours.
Right, when people are finally off work and have time to think about these things.
Exactly. Bonnie&Car is there, ready to catch those after-hours customers that other businesses are missing.
Wow, it's like they unlocked a whole other level of being productive, But I do have one question. We've been talking about efficiency and automation, but what about the human element? Like, what did Bonnie and Car's customers actually think about talking to an AI?
That's a really good question. It's something that comes up a lot. Like, are we losing that human touch?
Yeah,
But get this, the feedback from Bonnie and Car's customers was super positive.
really. Like, what were people saying?
So they did surveys, right? Asked customers how they felt about interacting with the AI, and guess what? The AI agent got an average rating of 4 out of 5 stars.
Wow, that's pretty impressive, especially with all the, back and forth about AI.
I know, right? It just goes to show how far AI has come. It's not like those old clunky robots anymore.
You mean from, like, the dark ages?
Exactly. We can even put an audio clip in the show notes so your listeners can hear for themselves. I think they'll be surprised how natural it sounds.
Definitely. Now, you mentioned something earlier that I want to circle back to. It's not about replacing humans entirely. It's about letting the AI handle the repetitive tasks that take up so much time.
100%. That frees up the human agents to focus on the really complex interactions that still require that human touch.
Absolutely. It's all about balance.
Finding that sweet spot between human and artificial intelligence, using the strengths of both. And it really paid off for Bonnie and Carr. Remember, not only did they get rid of missed calls and open up more hours, but they also saw a 15% jump in revenue after they started using CallShift.ai.
15%. That's huge. And it's all because they optimized one thing, how they handled phone calls. It's incredible how even small changes can make a big difference when you bring in the right technology.
It really shows that AI isn't some far-off thing. It's here, it works, and it gets results.
Makes you wonder what other opportunities are hiding out there if companies would just embrace AI, right?
It's a question more businesses should be asking themselves, for sure. The potential is huge. And Bonnie and Carr is just one example. Who knows what's possible when you mix human ingenuity with the power of AI?
It's easy to get caught up in the tech, right?
Sure.
But what really matters at the end of the day is how it helps businesses and their customers.
Totally. And that's what's so cool about the Bonnie and Carr story. They didn't just throw AI at something for the sake of it. They had a real problem that was costing them money and making customers unhappy. And using AI is how they fixed it, and they saw amazing results.
It shows that AI isn't about replacing people altogether. It's about giving them the tools to do more. Like in this case, the team at Bonnie and Carr could work smarter, not harder, and be there for their customers more. That's what I call a win-win.
Exactly. And for anyone out there who's still a little unsure about AI, think about those customer satisfaction scores we talked about. Those speak for themselves. People actually liked interacting with the AI.
And honestly, it makes sense. These days, customers are used to interacting with AI as long as it's done right. If it's easy, saves them time, and just works, they're happy.
Right. It's about making the customer experience better. It's not about forcing AI down people's throats. And if you do it right, you can get more efficient, make more money, and keep your customers happy.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are your final thoughts? What do you really want our listeners to remember about AI and, phone communication?
Well, I think the main thing is that AI is here now. It's not some futuristic fantasy. It's changing how we work and connect with each other. And Bonnie and Carr, that's just one example of what's possible. But we have to remember, it's not magic. You need to plan, use it strategically, and find that balance between people and AI.
So well said. And for anyone listening who's thinking, okay, I'm ready to try this AI thing, check out CallShift.ai or something similar. Who knows? It might be exactly what your business needs.
And don't forget those audio snippets we mentioned before. We'll put them in the show notes so you can hear how natural this AI sounds.
Definitely. Well, that brings us to the end of another deep dive. Hopefully you enjoy learning about AI-powered phone communication and maybe even picked up some tips for your own work.
It's been great chatting with you. Keep exploring, keep innovating, and keep those calls coming.
And we'll be here to help you figure out how to make the most of every single one. Thanks for joining us.